Ford paid little old me $25,000 to sponsor my event. And in this video, I'm not only going to share how I did it, I'm also going to give you the system that you can copy and start using today. Now, let me be clear, I am not telling you that you're going to call Ford tomorrow and get a $25,000 check. That is not how this works. What I am telling you is that the strategy behind that deal is completely repeatable. I didn't get that deal because I was famous or had a massive audience, and I didn't start by saying, "Hey Ford, give me $25,000. I got it because I understood one thing. I understood who was in my room. I understood why that audience could matter to a company like Ford. And then instead of trying to sell them a table, I started thinking about what I could help them accomplish. So if you're hosting a conference, workshop, retreat, brunch, summit, or honestly, even a fairly small event, I want you to really pay attention to this because I'm going to show you the 5-step vendor value ladder I use to price my event sponsorships. So grab something to write with. We're building sponsorship strategy today. And the first step happens before you ever reach out to a sponsor. Step 1, you're going to know what you actually own. Before you contact a company, I want you to answer this question. Who exactly is in your room? Not women, not entrepreneurs. I want you to get really specific. What kind of women? What kind of entrepreneurs? What stage of life are they in? What decisions are they making? What are they buying? What problems are they trying to solve? Because this is what Ford was really paying for. They weren't paying me because I knew how to run a ballroom. They were paying for access to a particular audience inside of an environment that I built. That's why I keep saying this throughout this series. Your event is not necessarily the asset, your audience is. So before you start making a list of sponsors, make a list of what you know about the people you're bringing together. And once you're really clear about who those people are, the next question becomes pretty obvious. Who else wants them? So in step 2, you're going to find companies that already want them. Now you're going to ask yourself, who's already spending money trying to reach these people? This is where I think people make sponsorship harder than it actually needs to be. You're not trying to convince a random company to suddenly care about your audience. I want you to find companies that already do. So if your audience is women business owners, who wants them? It could be banks, credit card companies, technology companies, universities, professional service firms. If your audience is senior level women in corporate America, well, that's a different list. If your audience is caregivers, different list. Look at the audience first, then follow the money. Who already has a business reason to want these people? That's your starting sponsor list. But identifying the right companies, that's only half of it, because once you get in the room with one of them, what you ask next can completely change the size of the opportunity. Step 3 is the part that changed things for me. When you're talking to the company, don't lead with, "Would you like to sponsor my event?" Instead, you're going to ask them, "What are you trying to accomplish with this audience?" That is the question. If you take nothing else from this video, take that, because depending on what they say, the value of your deal can change dramatically. And that's where my vendor value ladder comes in, because their answer tells you which rung of this ladder you should actually be selling. I want you to picture 5 levels. At the bottom, you're just selling space. And at the top, you're building a strategic brand partnership. So let's start at level 1, where we're talking about the space. And we're going to assume that your potential sponsor wants presence. Great. Sell the booth. That includes the table, the chairs, a couple of passes, a basic listing in the program. All of that is perfectly fine, but don't assume that's where the conversation ends. Ask what their goal is. Find out what they actually want, because sometimes they don't just want the space. They want what that space can help them get. And the first thing they want is more attention. So we come to level 2, where you're giving them that visibility. If they say, "We want more people to know who we are," now you're selling attention. And that can come in the form of email placements, website exposure, social media, signage, stage mentions, or premium placements. That's worth way more than a table, because now you're solving an awareness problem. But awareness isn't always the problem. Sometimes people already know the company exists. The company needs an opportunity to actually talk to them. And that moves us up another rung to level 3, which is access. Maybe the company says, people know who we are. We just need them to understand what we do. And maybe that's in the form of a workshop, a fireside chat, a podcast interview. Maybe an executive from the company participates in your programming. It doesn't matter, but the important thing is they're not buying just 15 minutes with you. They're buying access to the right audience, so price accordingly. And then there are companies that don't just want people to hear from them, they need those people to actually do something. Now we're talking about an entirely different outcome, and that takes us to level 4, which is lead generation. Maybe the company says, we need prospects. Now you have to build something that generates interaction. Maybe that's a giveaway, an assessment, a QR experience, an appointment station, a contest, or an interactive activation. Now, you're not just offering, oh, here's booth number 37 for you. You're saying if lead generation is the goal, here's what I recommend. And now you've moved from vendor salesperson to strategist. And once you start operating like a strategist, there's one more level. This is where you're no longer figuring out where the company fits inside your event. You're figuring out what the two of you can create together, which takes us to level 5, brand partnership. This is where the forward conversation lives. At this level, they're not just attending your event, they're becoming an integrated part of it. Maybe they own the VIP experience. Maybe they sponsor a reception. Maybe they're integrated into programming. Maybe they have an activation designed specifically around their goals. Or better yet, maybe you create something that isn't even listed in your sponsorship package. And that's okay. And actually, some of the best deals that I've done didn't fit neatly inside a pre-written package, because the question is never which package do you want. The question is always, what are you trying to accomplish and what can we build that gets you there? That's a partnership conversation. And once you understand those 5 levels, the next part becomes much easier and you stop trying to force every company into the same sponsorship package. So back to step 4, where we're building the deal around what your potential sponsor is saying to you. So this is the part that I really want you to think about and copy and dig deep into. Don't immediately send everybody to the same PDF. You can absolutely have a sponsorship deck. I do. You need something that explains your event, your audience, and the partnership opportunities, but don't let the deck do all the work for you. If company A wants awareness and company B wants qualified leads, why would you sell them exactly the same thing? You shouldn't. The proposal should support the conversation. It shouldn't replace the conversation. If they want visibility, build visibility. If they want education, give them access. If they want leads, create engagement. If they want to be associated with the event itself, build a partnership. I know, it's easier said than done, right? But this is the shift that can move you from selling $500 tables to having $5,000, $10,000, or $25,000 conversations. But there's still one more piece, because you can build an incredible partnership and still leave money on the table if you don't know how to think about what it's worth. So that brings us to step 5, where you have to price the outcome. This may be the hardest one, because you stop pricing based on what something costs you. And instead, you're going to start thinking about what it's actually worth to the sponsor, or what kind of access are they getting because of you, or how qualified is the audience? How much exposure are you giving them? How much exclusivity? How much integration? What business problem are you helping them solve? Now, obviously, you still have to price responsibly, but don't take something that could help a company generate customers and price it like you're renting them 6 feet of carpet space. And now that you've seen all 5 steps, I want to take you back to where we started with that $25,000 check from Ford, because the number makes a lot more sense when you understand what was actually being purchased. So your question may be through all of this, like, what did Ford actually pay for. To be clear, they did not pay me $25,000 for a table. They didn't pay me $25,000 because I asked them nicely. They paid because there was an audience they wanted access to, an event environment that made sense for their brand, and a partnership opportunity that was bigger than logo placement. That's what made the check possible. Now, let's take Ford completely out of it for a minute and talk about your event. Because I don't want you to just understand what I did. I want you to be able to use it as well. I want you to pause after this video and do these 5 things. Number 1, write down exactly who attends your event. Number 2, make a list of 10 companies that already want those people. Number 3, for every company, ask yourself what they might want. Is it visibility, access, leads, or deeper brand association? Number 4, ask what could my event give them that helps accomplish that. And finally, what is that worth? Now you're building a sponsorship strategy, not just a sponsorship package. And if you're already thinking, oh, this sounds great, but my event isn't nearly big enough for this, let's deal with that right now. Because one thing that I want from you is that you don't talk yourself out of this because your event is small. You don't necessarily need 1,000 attendees. You need the right attendees. The question isn't just how many people do you have, it's who are they and who wants them. Now, you can absolutely take everything that I've given you in this video and start working through it on your own. But if you're looking at your event and realizing that you need another set of eyes on it, that's also something that I can help you with. You'll find information below in the description if you'd like to work with me. But even if we never work together, I want you to promise me one thing. I want you to promise me that you'll stop going into sponsor conversations thinking, how much money can I ask these people for? I want you to start thinking, what are they trying to accomplish and what do I have that can help? That's the entire strategy. So I want to let you know that we've got our special guest here today. Let's see if he is cooperative today. There's Mr. Biggie. Hi, sir. How are you? In the last video, I introduced you to my new YouTube marketing director, Biggie Smalls. He gave you a marketing tip in the last video, and he has decided to make this a regular part of our series going forward. And so I wanted to share Biggie's marketing tip with you today. So Biggie, are you ready for the marketing tip? Okay. It is, don't sell the table, sell what the table can do. Ooh, bravo. Very good, sir. All right. Very good. So as a reminder, if you haven't watched the first video in this series, I want you to go back and watch it here because it explains why the audience is your most valuable asset. Oh, and while you're there, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And as always, oh, not that you turned your back to the people, but he's still working on his manners. But as always, thanks so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.